Welcome, everyone, to the February 9th, 2021 Transportation Committee meeting. All council members are present except for Councilman Weigelsbach, who is on his way. I'd like Councilman Cagliati to lead us in the invocation and the pledge, please.
Certainly. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing on this committee tonight. May we do the business of the people of Ascension Parish. And Lord, in this time of trial and testing, please teach all of us to love one another, to be patient and kind. Help us to bring the peace of Jesus to our land and to our hearts. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm off of mute, I do believe. I have nothing to add for the committee chairman's report. We will have a public comment period. But if we want, let's see, we can move forward with first of all, have we had anybody call in or anything? I'm sure we haven't yet. We can start with item. Actually, I guess we can't, technically, we can't start with item 5A until the public comment period is over. Is that correct?
You're going to read the agenda.
Okay, I have to read that out loud. Yes, well, I forgot about all this. It seems to have been so long. Item number 4 is public comment. I encourage anybody that wants to please call in if they like. Item number 5 is general business. 5A, acceptance of minutes of January 11, 2021 as written. 5B, department report, Joey Turo. 5C, discussion of plan to update the Move Ascension website. 5D, Move Ascension annual review and preview. 5E, approval of entity state agreement for state project number H.014409-LA933 at Joe Severio Road. Item 5F, approval of entity state agreement for project number H.01442 LA931 at Joe Severio Road. Item 5G, approval of entity state agreement for state project number H.014407-LA621 at Roddy Road. Item 6, adjournment. So now,
did you throw the toy far enough from the dog?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the perils of doing this from at home, not having enough space some days. So I believe we now have to wait 15 minutes for the public comment period. So we will re-adjourn.
At 6:15.
Okay, thank you.
Aaron, actually, you probably could have gone ahead and done the Move Ascension review during that period, if you wanted to.
Item D.
Okay, if we want.
Somebody could make a motion to have item D be discussed, presented during the.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So if we're ready, Jeff, are you ready to move forward with the Move Ascension review and preview?
I'll just do the first part. I just want to give a rundown on the active projects, and then Jeff has a much more detailed overview of the entire program. I did have someone check on the LA73 at Brown Road turn lane project. It is now complete, except for punch list items. So, we had a little issue with a gas line. That's been solved. The dressing's been done, the seed and fertilizing has been done, and the permanent striping is done. So we have yet another Move Ascension completed project. The upcoming projects that has some movement on is the Henry at Highway 930 Roundabout project. We have a contractor on board. It's McGee Excavation and Development. We have a notice to proceed date for the construction of that project of March 1st. Utility relocation is still going on, but it's on the tail end. So we're confident that the utility relocations will be completed at the time of that construction will begin. We also have the Seabro Road project that has been let for bid. We have a contractor, which is Command Construction. We've had a meeting. We will have an additional meeting. We just have some extra preparations that we want to make for that roadway. But we anticipate the construction of that one starting in mid-March, mid to late March. The next several projects that will be coming up will be the Germany Road at Airline Highway turn lane project. On that project, all the right-of-way is purchased. The clearing has been done. That was done in-house, in fact. The utility relocations are going on now. They've just started a week or so ago. So as soon as we get utility relocations close to being finished, we will let that project. The other one is Joe Severio at Merritt Evans and Joe Severio at Norwood. That's all one project. That one is a turn radius improvement project. Again, with that one, we have some utility issues out there. As soon as we can get utilities out of the way, that project too will be put out for bid. I'm going to defer to Jeff for a detailed report of the program.
Okay, thank you, Joey. Thank you, Chairman and committee. To give you a little update, and I believe you should have the briefing for tonight in your packets. We start kind of with a slight look back on where we've come and what we've done up through now, how the program's situated, and then really just touch on that lightly because I really want to concentrate on where we're going in 2021, a lot of activity to get to, a lot of construction and other activities. You can see here as the program was originally created, we developed a vision statement you'll find on the website and other materials. And I won't sit there and read it to you, but how it starts is actually very critical that we have and had entered into a critical period in the history of Ascension Parish, and we have embarked on this unprecedented transportation initiative in order to jumpstart what we have identified for some long-term infrastructure improvement solutions. We have started what was Move Ascension, the early quick start, and that is to address some of the now needs, but also to jumpstart those long-term improvements. We've structured the program. It's separated into 5 components, as you see here: program administration, program controls, all the pre-construction activities, that's design, that's acquiring all the right-of-way, that's getting your core permits, that's moving utilities. And then, of course, when we go to construction and those inspection services. And then there's also that public outreach and information component. We have the website. Ms. Phillips is going to talk about that in a little bit. That's been upgraded considerably. We've held public meetings. We want to do more of that, engage the public, let them know what's coming, what they can expect, answer all their questions. And that's how the program has been structured thus far. Also, kind of a look back at what's been accomplished thus far. We have completed numerous projects. You see here a list of 8 projects that have been completed. The St. Landry to Ashland Connector Road project, y'all are very aware of that. I think the parish is going to be scheduling through its communications department a ribbon cutting and road naming ceremony here shortly in the coming weeks or a month. And then you'll see several turn lane jobs on 73, several signal timing projects, and clearing and grubbing as well. As we scroll through next, you'll see kind of what's up next. And Joey alluded to some of this. If we could scroll down a little bit.
There you go.
First quarter, we've already given NTP for the first 2 projects Joey just alluded to, Seabro and the 930 Henry Roundabout. Those will be getting jump started here probably first week of March. I had the NTP, but they'll actually get out there and mobilize first week of March. And then as Joey mentioned, you see a list of several other projects that are going to advertise either by the end of this month or more likely the first week or two of March. So we'll have 6 more projects here in the first quarter underway for construction, and then several more projects, another half dozen that you can see here, where we'll be advancing utility relocations and then go out and advertise to bid once those utilities are moved out of the way. Several of the committee members had asked for some high level and then maybe even some in the weeds, which we can touch on it at both levels of some of the program financials. And what I've shown here today is somewhat of a comparison. As you can see here on the left is the annual parish transportation funding for transportation. How is transportation funded currently in the parish? Well, you can see through the sales and use tax, the parish gets 2/3 of 1/2 cent for road construction. That yields approximately, according to Parish Finance Department, and it all depends on sales tax that's collected, anywhere from $6 to $8 million per year. And what does that fund? The first $3 million goes towards the overlay program. Another $1.8 million per year goes to for bond service debt, to reduce that on a yearly basis for the bonds we sold for the Move Ascension program, which leaves about another $1 to $3 million to do any kind of either minor or capital improvement projects. Not really a lot. And you'll see in a note on there that Ascension Parish has more than its share of state-owned roads in this parish, but it also has almost 1,100 miles of parish roads spread across the almost 300 square miles of the parish. And other than 3 million overlays, we have 1 to 3 million to fix our local roads. So in comparison, if you look at the right side of that slide, what is the Move Ascension funding? Well, it started with bond sale for $25 million. That was then increased by using some of the cash reserves from the transportation fund that of $10 million more, for a total of $35 million. Where that $10 million that came from the reserves of what is collected from the left side of the screen. But we didn't stop there. We looked to leverage other both state and federal dollars to increase and really expand on the Move Ascension program. And as you can see here, $5.2 million in traffic impact fees have been allocated. We were able to get $2 million of DOT safety funds dedicated to those specific roundabouts you see there. And over the last 2 call for projects from the CRPC, we were able to put in applications and won almost $17 million of federal greater than 200K money for several other projects. The 7.6 for the fiscal years of 20 to 22 for the Germany and Duplessis, and the 9.3 is scattered across numerous projects. In addition to that, we were able to negotiate with DOTD for a road transfer swap of Highway 930 and Gold Place. And we got $4.9 million off of that. This spring, we actually get our last $1.1 million payment from DOTD. And that's actually key. What's in parentheses is that we're able to negotiate cash from DOTD and not future credits for a future project down the line. And also in 2019 for the 2020 fiscal, Move Ascension program got $4.28 million transferred from the drainage department. That was coordinated and negotiated back between transportation and the drainage board and the drainage department. After we went down and broke out all of the projects through Move Ascension and looked at and calculated all of the drainage-related items and the costs associated with that, there was a certain effort that the monies would be moved to Move Ascension. So now you see a starting total of almost $68.5 million for Move Ascension. Good news is we don't stop there. As we scroll down, you can see recurring funds added to the Move Ascension program. Well, if we extrapolate out those sales tax over the next 3 fiscal years, as you saw based on actual sales tax received, you'll have between $1 and $3 million a year through the annual sales tax for the actual transportation fund. Through the planning department, they have projected out from past fiscal years that they can look to receive approximately $1 million a year in impact fees. So, not saying all that would go to Move Ascension, but you do have recurring fees that the parish has access to, that there's a potential to add to the program over the next 3 fiscal years, anywhere from 6 to 12 million, depending on the range of what's collected and then what may or may not be transferred. Now, in addition to that, we have some potential for additional Move Ascension funds for what would be one-time allocations. We just put in numerous applications for the CRPC's 23 to 26 fiscal call to projects. Now, obviously, we don't anticipate receiving and being awarded this spring everything that we apply for, but based on conversations with CRPC leadership, we coordinate with them. Our applications look strong. They score well because Move Ascension is in a position to advance monies to move projects along in pre-construction phases to then get awarded monies to take advantage of for right-of-way, utilities, and construction at a later time. We're anticipating, without any guarantee, receiving from $3 to $6 million this spring, and we'll know this spring from this call for projects. As you recall, we received almost a cumulative $17 million for the last 2 call for project cycles. In addition, item 2 there, we're actually currently working with CRPC to secure additional funding from DOTD of other unobligated amounts from other parishes and entities that are not prepared to receive the allocations and utilize the funds in fiscal year 21. We've already submitted an application to secure those dollars, and it would overlay the entirety of Highway 929, and that would be an amount of close to $2 million, maybe $2.5 million. And lastly, in addition to that, as you all are well aware, the federal COVID relief and omnibus bill was signed, and the Louisiana DOTD, well, let me back up, all DOTDs across the country are going to receive $10 billion from that bill. Louisiana DOTD is going to receive $175 million of that, and this is going to be 100% federal dollars, no match required. And of that $175 million, the MPOs, CRPC, will get close to $20 million statewide. Of that $20 million, our local Baton Rouge MPO, of which Ascension is a part of, will receive approximately $5.8 million in 100% federal no match monies, one time. Now, we are prepared and stand at the ready to submit additional applications on behalf of Ascension once the CRPC determines how they plan on allocating that $5.8 million, and we're in talks with them now about that, waiting on those decisions. So for this one time of the monies, there's potential, as you see, for Move Ascension to receive anywhere from $5 to almost $15 million, depending on the range of everything I've just laid out there. So what have we done with the money? So if we look at all of the total funds committed to the Move Ascension, not necessarily spending, but committed to the Move Ascension program through the first quarter of 2021, you can see it's broken out between engineering design, what we spent to acquire right-of-way lands, utilities relocations, on all of the environmental clearances, the core mitigation required, on actual construction contracts, and inspection services to obviously inspect those construction efforts. You total all of that up of committed funds to date, and it's a little over $23.5 million, and you can see by this chart below the percent breakup of how all those monies have been allocated and dispersed and committed thus far. Obviously, as you're aware, we just highlighted all of the construction projects recently let and about to be advertised to letting, so obviously those numbers will change as well as we move forward here in 2021 into quarters 2 and 3. upcoming activities and action items. We mentioned a ribbon cutting for Ashland St. Landry. We also plan on coordinating some groundbreakings for some of these upcoming projects we just highlighted. I saw there was some email traffic early this evening. We do plan on reestablishing at the end of this month or probably early part of March the Move Ascension Steering Committee. We plan on holding some utility meetings, specifically a utility summit in March. I'm coordinating with Parish administration and Ms. Phillips on that effort right now, to be attended by Parish leaderships, utility companies, and to really go over the important nature of these companies relocating their utilities in a timely manner, because this headlines and is the actual largest risks we see to program schedule and delivery is the timely relocation of utilities. They've been getting a lot better, but we think this summit will go a long way to helping that. And then, as we mentioned, we're preparing the construction proposals for these upcoming jobs that we plan on going to construction. And then we just have the ongoing list of activities that are just inherent in the Move Ascension program. And you've seen this list pretty much each month. It pretty much stays the same. I do want to highlight the second bullet, though. Right-of-way acquisitions. We have actually already acquired 208 parcels to date. We have another 17 to 21 upcoming over the next 3 weeks. So we are really moving forward with right-of-way acquisition to advance these projects and get these things under construction. With that, that's the end of my briefing, and I'll turn it over to Joey unless anyone has any questions.
Yes, Jeff, I think we have a few questions, and I just want to go over one thing real quick. Not say go over, but kind of, I noticed on section C, Move Ascension expenditures to date, we've got about $11 million in engineering design. There's about $8 million in construction. It's my understanding, though, that, we design something, when we engineer something, we still have a lot of construction that's about to come up. And would Seabro be a good example of something that we spend a lot of money on the engineering design work, but the construction costs are going to come in later? Would that be a fair statement?
Actually, for the it is a fair statement for most of the construction projects we just highlighted. The Seabro, actually the design and the construction amounts are actually in those numbers. But for example, we highlighted another 4 to be advertised right now. We've already spent the money on design. And when we talk about design, that's all encompassing design contracts, not just the engineering design company. It's the survey companies, the underground utility investigation companies. It is the design companies for preliminary and final design. It's also the right-of-way map sub-consultants and geotechnical firms. That's all included under that one task order. But a lot of these are ongoing designs that are tabulated here in this tally, but the construction has not been advertised or awarded yet. So the construction here over 2020 will quickly outgain and surpass by a good margin those design fees.
Okay. That's all the questions I have right now. I'd like to open it up. I saw Councilman Cagliati. Go ahead.
I had the same question. I said at some point in time, construction is going to surpass engineering, because engineering is making all the preparations, and once construction starts, that cost will, rise and go well beyond what the engineering costs were. Correct?
Yes, sir. You'll see that most likely here about the end of the first quarter, but definitely as we move into quarters 2 and 3 through the summer, they will greatly see a bump up in construction costs that are let, and it will greatly exceed engineering on this chart.
Right. Plus, another positive is when you have the engineering design ready, that's what they call a shovel-ready project. So it might help us to get more funding federally or, from whoever to help us with the projects in the construction phase.
Yes, sir. And I kind of slightly touched on that. Now, let me circle back because that's an excellent point. Part of what we were able to be so successful on in the previous call to projects were because our project applications score very well, because we have advanced a lot of the pre-construction activities to be able to take advantage of securing some of these federal dollars. So you will see some of these engineering contracts included in this tabulation but they are in a lot of ways 30% complete, 50% complete. Some are 100% and are what we call shovel ready. That way, if we are able to secure some of these federal dollars, we can take advantage of that.
That's all. Thank you.
Councilman Mason, I believe you're the second up.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Jeff, thank you very much for that report. Do appreciate it. And I'm glad that you hadn't clarified that as well, because that was one of the questions I had. But the other one was, I'm looking at Section B, potential additional move Ascension funds. You said that the potential is between 5 and almost 15 million, which is an amazing amount. But you said that you applied for more and you don't expect getting it. Can you tell me like an estimate about how much total you guys applied for if we're only going to receive, not only, but if we're going to receive between 5 and 15?
Actually, and I might have covered this a little too quickly. My apologies. Sub-bullet I right there where it talks about the fiscal year 23 to 26 call for projects.
Mm-hmm.
We submitted 4 applications, and that can probably total somewhere between 9 and 12 million. We don't expect, because we compete against so many other entities, the city of Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge, city of Zachary, the city of Livingston Parish, and other entities. The MPO will not award an entire sum that they get to any one entity. So we're anticipating getting one of those 4, possibly even 2 of those 4, for a range of about 3 to 6 for this particular cycle's call for projects. These other are also just unobligated funds that other entities cannot use, that DOT is holding on to and may have to go back to the pot. So we've applied for the 929 project, and in hopes that if we can get that ready and obligated by the end of summer, then we can take advantage and basically take other entities' federal dollars that they weren't able to utilize this fiscal year. And then, of course, the last was the omnibus bill that we don't know how the MPO will utilize its 5.8 million just yet, but we're in talks with them on that.
And then that's what I'm glad. Yeah, you did go over that again. I'm still kind of new to the transportation, especially move Ascension things. So I'd like to know, kind of what's available. So it seems like of the, ones we apply for, we can shoot to get, anywhere between like 30 and 50% of the ones that we apply for. That'd be a safe estimate.
We've been highly successful in the last 2 calls, and there's no reason to suspect that we wouldn't be successful here on some of what we've put in for.
Awesome. Well, here's hoping for 15 million.
A lot of back and forth, and it appears we have a strong application.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Councilman Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this will be for Jeff. You mentioned about getting all the utility companies together and officials and just different ones to maybe get a better timeline on relocation. This is just a suggestion. We have, our own Ascension Parish Utility Committee that we formed. I was part of it back in the 90s. I would recommend that you maybe see if we could get in line with their meetings and see if we could possibly put all that together and, have one big session where we can, get these, the projects that we have out and at least have the ones that we have get a percentage of, what's left to get relocated.
Yes, sir, we can absolutely do that. Actually, we do participate as part of that monthly utility coordination meeting. We have one actually this Thursday, which we'll be participating with. Myself and Joey have been working real closely with each of the utility companies on project-specific basis. But this was something of a more elevated that we just thought we could get them all in here and parish leadership kind of just stress the urgency of what this program means. It's the first time we went out for a bond sale on a transportation program at this scale, and just their timely responses to their relocations was something we just want to kind kind of carve out a special meeting. But no, I agree with you 100%. And we are participating in that monthly utility coordination meeting that the parish's committee is leading, and we'll be participating again this Thursday.
Yeah, appreciate that. Just a couple other questions. You mentioned the overlay on Highway 929. Are you gonna, how far, or is it from Highway 42 to Airline, or how far are you gonna, with this overlay, how far are you going with it?
The entire way, from where it connects on both legs. This would be an application, and even if the funds were limited, we put into the application possible subsegments, but we put in the application for the entire route.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome, Councilman. I failed to recognize Councilman Wackersback has joined us. Councilwoman Kaza or Councilman Wackersback, do you have any questions? Nope. Okay.
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you. I would like to add one thing. I was looking at the project's completion and construction and ask if the administration, if we do a ribbon cutting for numbers 4, 5, and 6, the 73 turn lanes, I think it's important for the public to know that we are getting construction completed around the parish, because I think once those are done within the next year, we'll have some other ribbon cuttings. And I really believe that when the public sees that we're making progress, we'll earn a lot of credit with them. So hopefully the administration can do that for us. Okay, do we have any further presentation on the Move Ascension portion of this? Okay. I am trying to get back to my agenda. Okay, so that moves us back. Let's go to the public comment period again. Have we had any calls or emails?
No calls, no emails.
That's makes me sad, but that's okay. Let's move on to general business. Item A, acceptance of minutes of January 11, 2021 meeting as written. We have a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Cagliotti, a second by Councilman Mason. Any discussion, any objections? None, so moved. Item B, department report. Mr. Turo.
Okay, I have several items I just want to go over on what we've accomplished and the goings on of our transportation group. We did start construct or tree removal on the Lemonville cutoff curve improvement. I guess we'll call it that for now. We've had great work done by the West Ascension group. They actually used some of the equipment that our drainage department has, but they actually did the work. And I want to commend Ronald Stevenson and Herbert Turner. They did a great job. I looked at it yesterday, and all the trees in that area are gone. The stumps have been removed. The roots are all balled up, and that work is being done in-house. They're going to also shape the dirt for that new alignment, and you know, we didn't contract out any of that. That was done in-house. So we've had good, and that West Baton Rouge group, you know, really shined on that part. Did a great job. I want to also give a brief DOTD report on what's going on and what's coming up. The LA 44 turn lane project is basically finished. There's only a small amount of work on the Bayou Narcisse intersection. LA 42, they tell me May is the new date for completion. They did a lot of work in the LA 42, LA 73 area. A lot of what they have left to do is the final lift, the wearing course. So you will see, asphalt crews carousing the entire length of the project. And that's generally the way that the project looks best, is they can put that final lift down all at one time. So they do have some other things. They actually have some sewer tie-ins that need to be handled by the parish. But there's also some sidewalks left to tie in. But that final lift, the wearing course, is the main thrust of what's going to be happening. I want to see if the projects that are coming up. The LA 44 at Loosemore Roundabout project, I think it had some delays, but it's due to be bid in April of this year. The LA 30 roundabouts, it too has some delays, but they did say the funding is there. They just had some logistics to get out of the way. It did get pushed back to February of 2022. So I know that's going to be a great project whenever it comes up, but it did get pushed back a bit. Airline at Old Perkins, there's going to be a double left turn lane from Airline northbound onto Old Perkins. That would be westbound. That project has been moved to June of 2021. And then there is, on a positive note, the LA 74 reconstruction. What I was told is initially the limits of that project was going to be from LA 74 to LA 73, but that since has been revised, and now it's from Airline Highway all the way to the Iberville Parish line. And also, the letting date was going to be October of this year. It's now going to be May of this year. So I know that stretch of road is starting to fall apart, and but they've made some good efforts to get that done, in a quicker fashion. Moving to our paving group, the Ascension Parish paving section. They have overlaid Bud Broussard Road. They did a improvement on a potential failure area on Piggy Duplessis. That was accomplished in January. They are now working in the David Drive, which is north of LA 42. They did a chip seal on it. They did patching, and they are also they did one thing that I think is something that I encourage them to do, and but they did this on their own, and we're doing this as we see the need is to add pipe in a lot of our intersections to where our turn radiuses are better than they were before. I know we have a lot of roads that are very narrow. They're tied into a very narrow roadway, and it makes for the turn radiuses to be really tight. So in a lot of those cases, they'll add pipe and catch basins to where they can make turn radiuses a lot easier. So they did that at the Van Broussard David Drive area. Van Broussard itself, they started overlaying it, so they'll finish that up later this week or early next week. The same thing for Fallbacher. They started the overlay on it. They did one lane. They will complete the other lane probably next week. They patched McCrory 1 in anticipation of an overlay there. They also did the same, patching Moody Dixon Road with anticipation of overlaying it. They did some turn radius improvements for a school bus on Touye and Raymond Touye in the Sorrento area. They've also done crack sealing on Bluff Heritage Avenue, Timberstone Avenue, Bluff Point Drive, and Bluff Heritage.
Joey, before we move on from there, I have what may be a very stupid question. Please forgive me. It says degrass a road. I don't know what that is. I mean, maybe it's just the obvious.
No, well, on the edge of, obviously don't have to degrass the entire road, but on the edges, a lot of times, the roads that haven't been touched in a while, the grass will just creep onto the shoulder, outside of the wheel path. Of course, the core wheel paths will kill any grass there, but outside of that point, the grass will just creep in like that. So in order to overlay it, you certainly don't want to leave the grass there. So they'll peel that grass over, and they'll also peel the shoulder grass over to where it just makes for a cleaner project for the asphalt to touch. You want asphalt to touch asphalt. You don't want asphalt to touch grass or any other debris. So it's part of just cleaning up the roadway and making sure that the new asphalt is touching existing asphalt.
Thank you, Joey. I was afraid you were going to say no, it's pronounced degrade, had some very technical meaning that I'd take a fool of myself.
We are in a French culture here. I apologize. Tacey was not able to be here. She's kind of under the weather. But she reports that our in-house transportation crew, and some of it's going to be the same people that do our overlays on roads, we're going to get trained into putting our rejuvenator down. So the contractor that we use is a BioRestore asphalt rejuvenator. They are going to come to our yard and show us how to do it ourselves, and that's our goal, is to have a bin with the product. They're going to show us how to mix it, how to put it, into our containers, and it's, from what they tell us, it's not a very big deal. The only real purchase that we are going to make is going to be a one-time purchase of, I think, a metering device to make sure that we're putting the product out at the correct rate. I think it's around $7,000 for that dispenser, but it allows us to put it down professionally, the way it should be put down. So all of that is coming up in the very near future. We'll have that company. They can't come out now because the weather is just a little too cool. So whenever the temperature is a little better, we're going to start that training, and then hopefully our next applications will be done in-house at a cheaper rate as opposed to having the contractor do it. Well, the texture seals, as I mentioned, will start after the temperature gets a little better. We are soon to have our 2020 asphalt road rehabilitation contract under a pre-construction meeting. At that meeting, we will give that task to the contractor. R.J. Daigle is the contractor, so we'll have that meeting. We'll give them task one, set up a notice to proceed, and get that going. Tacey is also working on finalizing the 2021 asphalt road rehabilitation package, so that we can get it going, hopefully in a month or two. So we should have a lot of contractor pavement work going on in the next couple of months. You'll actually have two, because we didn't have one in 2020, you're actually going to have two going on this year. One thing that I wanted to go over, because there's a lot of activity in the parish in regards to our bridges. Right now, well, first at a previous meeting, y'all approved, and the full council approved, a contract to have the bridges that weren't load rated, to have that load rating done. That contractor is actually in the field performing those load ratings. They go out to the bridges, they analyze the piling, the abutment, the boards that hold the dirt from falling into into the river canal, whatever it's crossing over. They look at the caps, the deck, the guardrail, everything having to do with the structure of the bridge. And they give it a load rating. We get that report, and we also report that to DOTD. We will sign those roads based on that load rating. You know, if it has a restriction on it, we will have signed at the ready, and we'll put them on those bridges immediately. I also want to report just our off-system road program. Brother Paving and Trey Cunningham are the ones that keep up with that program more closely. There are 82 off-system bridges in the parish. DOTD's district bridge maintenance section monitors that. They make sure that we inspect those bridges. They inspect them themselves every 2 years. So all these 82 bridges, they go around to each and every one of them, and they put a detailed report of the same thing, of the bridges themselves and also the surrounding area, to see if there's any scour in the area. Again, they analyze the piling, the caps, the decks, the guardrail, the approach slabs to the bridges. They do that on all 82 bridges. They started a couple of months ago, and they will finish up in April. So we will get a report on all of those, and hopefully all of those reports come out well, but to have all 82 come out, you know, without the flying colors would be really unusual. We do have, of those, there's 12 that, if a bridge has what they call critical deficiencies on it, our two guys, Brother Paving and Trey Cunningham, will go to those bridges and do an analysis of those bridges on the odd years. So DOTD comes every 2 years. Well, in those off years, our guys will do a report on 20 of those bridges that DOTD said required an additional inspection. We also have one that we are required to inspect every 6 months. So, you know, it's based on that report. And to let you know, a lot of times the ones that we're instructed to more closely monitor are the ones with timber piles. And, you know, we do have a lot of bridges in the parish that are 40 and 40 plus years old. And it's common that, you know, timber piles that old are going to have issues. So, you know, we do make sure that we monitor that. We do inspections as required by DOTD. And I just wanted to inform you of that program. There's certain criteria that it takes for our bridges to get into that program. One main one is that it has to be 20-foot spans. So there's several other bridges that are not part of the system, and that's one of the criteria, one of the reasons why they don't make it, that they're not part of that program. And that leads us into parish-owned bridges that the parish has to maintain themselves. You know, this is not DOTD-funded maintenance. The parish has 61 of those bridges. Again, a lot of those are wood piling bridges, but that's another one that Brother and Trey Cunningham, it's in their routine to go and inspect those bridges, and it is something that, you know, the parish does have to keep up themselves. So I just wanted to let you know of that, because you know, we do have a lot of bridge concentration right now, a lot of work on bridges. I do have, I just went through the list and broke down of the Of the 82 off-system bridges that we have, 44 of them have wood pilings. 29 of those have wood deckings also. We do have a lot of bridges that have wood piling and what's called a WASCI. It's a precast concrete deck on top of them. We have a lot of those. We do have 4 concrete culverts that still is part of the off-system bridge program. Of the parish maintained bridges, those 61, 45 of those have wood pilings. 36 of those 61 have wood decking. We have 9 that are of concrete culverts. We also have 3 that are aluminum box culverts. So that's my report.
Thank you very much, Joey. Do we have any questions? Councilman Wagensback.
Hey, Joey. Thanks for the review. It was really good. Appreciate it. I had a question about what you talked about 73 or 74 being updated. If there was a drainage issue, so there's a drainage issue I know of that it's a culvert underneath 74 that the state, I've actually talked to Aaron Ellisar about it. It's actually the culvert is too high. Would that be something I would just talk to him about to make sure it's captured during, I mean, when did you say that they were going to probably work on that?
I think that was going to be let for bid in April.
Okay. So would that be something I'd want to call to his attention?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think he does the drainage, right? Aaron?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott Lobel is actually going to be the project engineer on it, so you could call him also. He's the project engineer. He'll be more hands-on than Aaron, but you know, both of those guys will be able to address that issue.
Yeah, I was told it was done wrong, and the only way to address it would be to bust up the road. So I just maybe want to I mean, they may have it on their radar just to make sure, though. Thank you.
It is May. That letting is May of this year.
Okay. I may email you to get Scott's information.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, Councilman Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe, I didn't hear anything on restriping. We've got a lot of roads that are just, I mean, at dark, you can't tell where you're on the right side of the road. Either restriping or, you know, they have those reflectors. We need to start looking into some of those areas too. Maybe some of the roads out there, we go in and repave, see if we can go back with those. And I just wanted to bring up last night at drainage, and I've talked to you about it. You know, we want to talk about guardrails and possibly cables at some of these locations where we've had these fatalities. Just keep that in your radar, but definitely restriping. We need to start looking at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Great idea.
Do we have any further questions? No. Okay, so we'll move on to item 5C, discussion of plan to update Move Ascension. I appreciate Ms. Phillips for coming in tonight. This is something that I had asked if she would spearhead and make sure that we have an updated Move Ascension website, because I know the parish citizens are looking at it a lot, and over the past year it needed some updates, and I think she's got a plan to do this on a regular basis from here to eternity. Ms. Phillips, go ahead.
All right, I'll wait for IT to go ahead and pull up the presentation. Thank you all for having me tonight and allowing me to present this to you. And we're starting at the end. So that was a quick presentation.
That was quick.
I know, I'm really good. All right, next slide. All right, so this is just an overview of some of the major changes and updates that we've done to the website. Before I came to work for the parish, I had noticed that the website wasn't as up to date as I'd like it to be. It wasn't as easy to navigate. So we really tried to kind of dive in deep, make it more user-friendly, and then also get it updated in a regular manner. So these are some of the major things that I'll point out, but I do encourage everyone after tonight to go to the Move Ascension website and play around and see the new features. Next slide. Okay, so one of the major changes is we used to list everything by the project number as opposed to the project name. The project name references the road, the street. I feel like this just makes it easier to find what you're looking for. So I know it's a little bit small, but when you go on the website, you'll see now that it's listed by the actual project name. Next slide. In the move for transparency throughout the entire parish, there is now a program financial section. Right now, this is a snapshot, high-level look at the Move Ascension financials. In the future, as we get Open Checkbook going, we can have a link on this page that'll bring you to Open Checkbook, so you can get even further details and drill down on projects, vendors, things like that. But at least for right now, it kind of gives you an idea of what we spent and how we've spent it. Next page, or slide. We also now have all the participating contractors. You have the program management team, design consultants, and then construction firms to date. If you notice, it says when it was last updated. We plan on getting this website in its entirety updated every single month. So we'll have current and fresh information so that construction firms will be growing. We have quite a few projects that will be going out to lead in the coming months. Next slide, please. This is our live and updated interactive map. So this, you can click all around the parish to see what projects are going on, what type of projects, and it will actually bring you right to that specific project page that has the full details. Next slide. We have the gallery for all of our projects, and sometimes this will just show, like in this, the top area of what we're proposing to do. And then as it goes through the construction, we'll have before, during, afters as well. Next slide. We're also incorporating a lot more drone work. Our communications department does an amazing job. This is one of their latest, which is the Ashland-St. Landry Connector Road. If you haven't seen this video, I think it's 90 seconds long, but it is really impressive. And we are going to strive to have this for as many as the projects that it's feasible to show. So you can kind of see beginning to end in a quick snapshot. Next slide. This is probably my favorite update. This is overall status of every single project that we are doing. So at the very top, it's going to show everything that's been completed all the way through. You've got construction, right of way, final design, and preliminary design. This scrolls down. I just gave you a quick snap of what it looks like on the website. I think it shows great progress and how far we've come and what we've been doing. So I like that for kind of a quick overview. Next slide. We added an events page, so this will show construction lettings coming up, groundbreaking ceremonies, ribbon cutting ceremonies, any public meetings that we may have. And again, this will be updated monthly. And just as we are going to do a ribbon cutting for the St. Landry Ashland Road connector. We are waiting on getting the final name for that road, and then that will go to council to be a resolution so that we can do that properly. And when we do that ribbon cutting, we're going to incorporate the turn lane projects that we've recently completed on big posters and pictures of them, so we can have it all out on site at Ashland, but celebrate all of those ribbon cuttings in kind of one go. The next slide. Okay, so some of the things we got, we also added at the beginning, there's a 4-image slider. It does have a message from the parish president as well as links to the mission statement, and that can be changed out as well just to keep the website fresh at the beginning. They rearranged the main menu. The facts and questions was replaced with about. The dashboard option was replaced with status, calendar with events. And as you can see, we've added more information about lettings, financials, our teams. They just added a new post today about land clearing work. So that talks about the clearing and grubbing that's ongoing, which is nice for our community to understand what that is and kind of what the next steps are through how projects progress. And then we have new pages and locations for 4 new projects that are coming up. Next slide. And so some things that they're still working through right now is doing some GIS points and lines for the new projects. The data behind all of that, it takes a bit to build it, but they turned this around in a week and a half or so. They did an amazing job taking all of our suggestions and really revamping the website. Like I said, this is going to be updated monthly. The administration is going to work with our communications department to make a how-to video to navigate the website. I feel that it is very user-friendly, but just kind of a quick, what these buttons do, how do you navigate around. And then with that, we're going to relaunch and promote the website on Channel 21, the Facebook page, things like that, to really drive people back to it, that it can be a useful information tool. Next slide. Look at that. I finished it almost as quickly as my first attempt. I know y'all have been here a long night, so let me know if you have any questions or if I can help in any way.
Ruth, I want to tell you, I am thoroughly impressed. When I asked to do this, I said, hey, let's just have a plan to have it updated. And you've far exceeded those expectations. I'll tell you right now, one of the things I got on the website while you were doing your presentation, and I went to the status page, and it's really cool. And I want to bring up something that kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. There are 5 projects that have been 100% completed. There are 23 other projects that we have done engineering on. Some of those, we've even done 100% of the final design, and we've purchased 98.5% or 100% of the right-of-way, meaning that, hey, the funds come, boom, we can do that work. So that just kind of goes to show the disparity as to why there is so much engineering work done, is we're preparing for the future that when funds come along, we're going to jump on them. We're going to go get them. I know Jeff does that on a regular basis. So I just want to say I really appreciate the work that you put in on this. Councilman Mason.
I do want to echo Mr. Chairman's sentiment that it is a very impressive upgrade. I've had a lot of citizens reach out to me and ask me for, the updates, and I tried to lead them to the page in the past. So I'm excited that we can now have our citizens go and see up-to-date information monthly. So thank you, Ruth, and thank you to your team for their hard work on this.
Yes, it goes without saying, this was not a one-woman show by any stretch of the means. Joey, Tacey, Jeff first, and then our friends over at Franklin did an outstanding job.
Councilwoman,
I thank all of them as well.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank the whole team. What an amazing job. And Ruth, thank you for making this something that someone with my limited skills can access and navigate and learn more about what's happening in our parish. So we appreciate you very much.
Councilman Cagliati.
Yeah, I echo the thanks for the team putting this together. Oftentimes we say it among ourselves that we do a lot. We do get a lot accomplished, but we don't really publish what we get done, sort of pat ourselves on the back. This gives the public and anyone access to finding out how Move Ascension is doing. I think it's tremendous. And I'm glad y'all simplified it too, Ruth. I mean, that did help, and it's going to help people who are curious to go online and see exactly where the program is. Thank you so much. Well done.
Any other praise for Ruth or the Franklin Associates for Joey Turo?
And I don't even have a boss around right now.
Yeah, we're going to send somebody over to the glass house. Yeah, we're going to send somebody to the glass house to widen that doorway to get your head through there. Very good. Let's see, moving on. Let's see. We've already done 5D, so we're on 5E, approval of entity state agreement for state project number H.1014409, LA 933 at Joe Severio Road. Joey Turo.
This is just a entity state agreement for the roundabout construction and the lighting of that intersection. It spells out the fact that.
We have a motion.
Second.
And Joey, I think we're good. We have got a motion by Councilman Mason, a second by Councilman Cagliotti. Do we have any further discussion or questions? Or, I mean, if y'all would like to hear what Mr. Turtle has to say, but I think we're very good with
No,
this.
it just spells out the participation of the entity, which is the parish, pays 20%. That's federal funding for the 80% of construction.
It's fantastic. Okay, any further discussion? Any objections? None. We'll move on to item 5F, approval of entity state agreement for state project number H.01442 LA 931 at Joseph Area Road.
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Cagliotti, second by Councilman Mason. Any further discussion? Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5G, approval of entity state agreement for state project number H.014407 LA 621 at Roddy Road.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Mason, a second by Councilman Wagensback. Do we have any discussion? Any objections? None. So moved. Item 6, adjournment. Motion by Councilman Cagliotti and a second by Councilman Mason. Great job, everybody. I love working with y'all. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you.